Vimy Ridge symbolizes the sacrifices and the triumphs that Canada experienced during the First World War. It was a battle that happened roughly kind of in the middle of Canada's combat chronology on the Western Front. And it was a battle that inflicted horrendous casualties in the Canadian Corps.
Today it is a point of memory of many of the great achievements by the young men and women of Canada. It was a battle not to be won. It was a battle to be staged more as a diversionary noise on the flank of the British attack. Turned out to be a day of great history for Canada because they were victorious.
Even though I wasn't around during the time, or even my parents weren't, I think it's such an important event for Canada because it's kind of a way that we all can identify with it as Canadians. It shows a lot of patriotism for us, and especially me, I feel pretty proud to say that we're a significant role, even though we're much smaller than a lot of the other fighting nations during that war.
As a Canadian, it sort of it brings a lot of patriotism to me because it's an event that really is important in Canadian history, and it's an important event for all Canadians to really appreciate because of its global importance, right, and its importance in World War I.
Well, me personally, it really sort of galvanized my interest in Canadian military history. When I was pursuing my undergraduate studies at Queen's University, I had kind of developed a very keen interest in British military history. And then in the summer of 2008, I went on a European trip with my family, and we perused a lot of the First World War sites like Beaumont-Hamel, the Battle of the Somme, Passchendaele, and Vimy Ridge, and I was struck by, again, like my visit to the monument. I didn't know as much about Canada's war chronicle at that point. And I kind of knew the general progression of the war on the Western Front, but the scale of the monument, the face of the ridge itself, and also just, you know, you get a sense of the immediacy of the battle too. When you see that the sides of the ridge are still kind of pockmarked heavily with shells, and sections of it are cordoned off, and the grass has to be mown by sheep because they're afraid that lawnmowers would set off undetonated explosives. And so you get a very real sense of the ferocity of the battle there. And I was tremendously impressed by the monument itself and was just kind of driven by this desire to know more. I want to know more about the men who fought there. I want to know more about the kind of pace of the battles themselves. I wanted to know more about the rest of the war on the Western Front because Vimy Ridge obviously didn't happen in a vacuum, that it was part of not only a broader British offensive in April 1917, but was also clearly not the end of the First World War. And so it posed a number of very important questions that really kind of propelled me throughout my graduate studies as well. And so Vimy was kind of, I think, the closest thing to one of those light bulb moments I had visiting the Ridge personally. And so it's, you know, it still has a very profound effect on the scope and shape of my career.
After the battles of the Somme, where we hadn't been able to achieve great things and where losses had been extremely high for not a lot of tangible gain, the public really needed a victory like Vimy. By the time 1917 came around, we really needed a rallying point at that point in the war. It really helped buoy Canada's spirits up overall, but also helped the Western Allies.
It was the most important battle, at least in my opinion, that Canada's ever fought because of its significance. I mean, it got Canada's signature on the Versailles Treaty, which was different from all the other Commonwealth countries at the time. Canada really stood out as its own country rather than just a puppet.
When I was in grade school and high school, it was the history of Canada first. And we did learn of our military.
I don't think that there is too much understanding. I think that there's a basic understanding, but I think that there should maybe be more understanding. I think that it should be more focused on in schools.
I don't think most of them know enough about it. I bet you if you could go out on the street and ask people, they wouldn't know much at all about it, and I think, which is kind of sad. I think that in education, I think it's one of the major things in our history, and we need to be taught a bit more about it.
It was really Vimy that launched us onto the international stage and really brought it home for Canadians at home, that we were achieving things that no one else had been able to achieve. You know, the headlines blared Vimy.
My name is Al Judson. I'm a Canadian.
Kyle Crease, 17. I am Canadian.
Morgan Angus, 17 years old, I'm Canadian.
I'm Rory Corey. I'm Senior Curator here at the Military Museum. I am Canadian.